Paige, let's move on to the excitement index, just talking about some things we're really excited for this weekend. And we're not doing a full game preview on Packers Vikings, but I do want to talk about that game a little bit here because I am so excited for this matchup. Is Jordan Love going to come back? I'm not sure. I think, do we have the conversation with him and without him? I think that Matt LaFleur has just done a fantastic job with Malik Willis, just tying everything together where your runs look like your passes, your runs look like your screens, your passes look like your screens, and just having all of these different ways to really manipulate the defense where the linebacker's eyes are in the wrong place. Now the cornerback can't even get into his technique as he has to kind of fit the run. It's a situation where he is just one of the best coaches that we have. He's one of the best offensive play callers. He's one of the best play designers. And to go up against Brian Flores and this defense, where I have no problem saying that this Vikings defense is the best in the league right now, I want to know if the Vikings offense can play from behind. I don't know if it'll happen, but the Packers are certainly a team that likes to get the ball first and they want to go down there and score, as every team does. But, does that shift things for the Vikings a little bit when you're, maybe off of your game script? We, of course, saw the Saints, get punched in the mouth a little bit by the Eagles, where they were an offense that was just high flying over and over. And then the Eagles just get you in some tough situations in a tight game. So I think a lot of things to monitor in this game. What are some things you're looking at for the Packers matchup with the Vikings?
Yeah, I mean, you laid out, that this game can be a very fun game and will teach us a lot about both of these teams. And this does feel like the game where Jaden Reed can really get going a little bit, and kind of get back to what we saw from him week one and at the end of last season, just because of what we said last week with the state of the Vikings corners, which hasn't really bit them so far, but always could in this game. And I think like the other thing is, can the Packers, if Jordan Love doesn't go in this game, just get by on running the ball? Like, where I think Flores is truly special is just the confusion he sends in terms of how many pass rushers he's going to send at a quarterback. So if the Packers just fully lean into the run game, against a pretty good run defense in Minnesota, like maybe they can just get by where they're only passing in expected run situations. Because if you put Malik Willis in an expected pass situation against a Brian Flores defense, that I think is a little bit worrying, even though Malik Willis has played relatively well, all things considered, these two games.
I want an offense to attack Minnesota outside. I do think the Vikings have gotten good cornerback play. I do think they do a good job of making sure the cornerbacks don't end up on islands by having those safeties over the top. So just what the cornerbacks are asked looks a little bit different, but there are going to be situations when the Vikings end up sending five, and now we have kind of one linebacker patrolling that middle area of the field. I want to see it, like what Green Bay can kind of drop to conflict that linebacker, whether it's, you get him going one way. Now we have vacated space kind of in that middle of the field. At the same time, the Packers are going to have to be able to pass protect, where I feel like the Vikings did a really good job against the Texans. You generate some one-on-ones, and now you have Jonathan Grenard just in the backfield right away. So that's a thing I'll be monitoring. And just really, like, it's a measuring stick game in so many ways, because we mentioned this for the teams that are able to succeed early in the season. Like, when does it matter? To me, it does already matter, where the Vikings are a good team. Like, I don't really have any problem saying that. But for Sam Darnold, it's just like, can you rely on him week after week? I hope so. I think you can rely on Kevin O'Connell week after week, and it feels like he's getting him in that O'Connell getting Darnold just playing fast, playing well, avoiding those negative plays that have plagued him in different ways, and really just getting an awesome offense where it's designed well. It makes sense over and over. It makes things maybe not easier for the quarterback, but actually I do think it is easier for the quarterback, where it's an understandable read. I think O'Connell does a good job with his quarterbacks of making them understand, well, like, what is the purpose of this play? Like, what are we really trying to do here? And that helps quarterbacks kind of internalize that. But Teja, I do want to ask you, like, if you're the Lions here, which of these two teams really scares you more between the Packers, who going into the season were a really just hot pick to make the Super Bowl, and then you have the Vikings, who are, I mean, they're playing lights out right now. So which of those two teams kind of scares you more?
That is a really good question. They both scare me, but the Packers scare me a little bit more because we saw Ben Johnson and the Lions offense really just cook the Vikings defense twice last year. Not saying that continues this year, but like they felt very comfortable against the Vikings in both of those games last year. So I think that gives some hope there, but also like the Packers pass offense can go truly nuclear at any time. And they did that against the Lions on Thanksgiving last season, where first play of the game, play action deep shot to Christian Watson. And it was just like the Jordan Love coming out party in that game. And you're just really worried about that when you go up against Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, and all of their pass catching options, because like we talked about when we were previewing Seahawks Lions, outside of Terry and Arnold, there's really not another corner on this Lions team that you trust. If you just look at all defensive backs as a whole, like Kirby Joseph's pretty good, Brian Branch is really good, but like if LaFleur just like starts targeting Carlton Davis or targeting some of the Lions backup corners, like that's just not a great position to be in. And so that's why the Packers scare me more is because of just like how many points they can score on offense when their pass offense is on.
Yeah, that Thanksgiving game is I kinda hope that that's the early game script here where, again, I wanna see the Vikings play from behind. I wanna see what the defense looks like when, you not necessarily you can't get into some of your funky pressure looks, but if an offense is comfortable, like, "Hey, we're up 10, we can keep running the ball here," and really find out a little bit more just about the run defense. I do think, the Vikings defense can play you a little bit more straight up now where they don't have to send, like, 8 or 3. They can, play that middle ground a little bit better, and it feels like the pieces are just fitting together really, really well. I'm not sure if I agree. Like I do hear you in that, the Jordan Love Matt LaFleur connection is awesome. I think Love, struggled a little bit in week one. I do think there's like just a ton of caveats to that performance. I agree with you in that the Packers having so many different threats on the outside, that really does pose a problem to a team like the Lions. But I don't know. Maybe I'm even just like purple pilled a little bit too much here. I do think that the Vikings are again. I just think they're a really good team, and I'm a little nervous here for them, Tage. Where I'm almost kind of scared to figure out like what does it look like when these guys go down? Like how long can we have Sam Darnold kind of playing at a high level?